Welcome in, everyone. This is your host, Jason, and today I bring you another topic in the Torah, one that's been highly debated, talked about for many a years, and this idea of Satan. I had somebody ask about Satan, ask a question about Satan, so I want to just go ahead and give some biblical Hebrew perspective of what or who Satan is. Okay, and I think this will help us along in our walk. So the topic is Satan. Is he a friend or is he a foe? We're gonna take a look at the Hebraic understanding of Hasatan, the tattleteller. So we'll get into that as we progress through this. You'll see why he is a tattleteller. Okay, now one of the most controversial figures in the Bible is Hasatan. Okay, or Satan, as you would call him. There are many ideologies and whole religious sects made after Hasatan due to erroneous teachings. Okay, today we will look at who is Hasatan and what role does he play in the plight of humanity. This is going to be important. So before we get started, there's a few questions I would like to propose to see if the Torah can provide answers for them. Because what we want to do here is we want to see if the Torah, if the teachings, if the word can provide an answer for itself. Okay. That's why the name of the channel is Let the Torah Speak, because we want to see if the Torah itself can provide answers and everything of that nature. So let's go ahead and look at that. So the two questions we're going to answer today is, who is Hasatan? That's number one. Number two is, what is his role in the host of the angels? What is his role? What role does he play? Okay. Now, so who is Hasatan? Let's look at this. The name Hasatan appears 22 times in the Tanakh, or what we would call nowadays the Old Testament. He appeared twice as an actual figure, like a angelic figure, which is in Numbers 22, and Job 1. And he appears 20 times, or the name Hasatan appears 20 times as an actual person, like a regular person like me or you. It appears 20 times. And the earliest appearance of Hasatan is in the book of Numbers. It's Numbers 22, 21 through 22. And it reads as such. When he arose in the morning, Balaam saddled his ass and departed with the Moabite dignitaries. But God was incensed at his going. Okay, this is key. Who was incensed at his going? God. Okay. So an angel of the Lord placed himself in his way as an adversary. That's Hasatan. So it says God was mad, and therefore he had one of his angels place himself in front of Balaam as a Hasatan. Okay. He was riding on his she-ass with two of his servants alongside. What we see here is the very first case of Hasatan appearing in the scriptures. And it clearly tells us here that Hasatan was an opponent. He appeared as an offense. That's his job, to oppose. He appeared as an offense to Balaam, right? Now, the question we want to ask ourselves is, what does the name Hasatan mean? Okay. Hasatan in Hebrew means adversary. It also means like a prosecutor, an opponent, to oppose. As we can see from the text is telling you the concept of Hasatan. It says, so an angel of the Lord placed himself in the way as an opponent between Balaam and where he was going. So we first get to see that the Torah is starting to answer itself. Hasatan places himself in the way as an opponent. What is the condition for that? Well, we see God was incensed at Balaam going. So we see that Hasatan is acting as an opponent for the Lord. This is going to be very key. He's acting as an opponent for the Lord. He's not acting on his own. He's acting as an opponent for the Lord. Okay. So if we continue reading Numbers 22, we will see that this angel is actually working for the Lord. Hasatan is working for the Lord, okay? Why is this so? Okay? That's a good question to ask ourselves. Why is Satan working for the Most High? Doesn't make any sense. Well, if we have Christian and Greek ideology, this concept wouldn't make sense. But remember, we have to put it back into its Hebrew perspective and its original intent, how the Hebrew people of the Bible would have saw Hasatan, okay? How the ancestors would have saw him. And this is a way that they would have saw him. Now, before we answer this, let's rationalize the nature of the Most High. This is going to be important for us, okay? So let's just think of this. If God is all powerful, all knowing, and a supreme judge of the earth, then Hasatan cannot operate on his own will or own power. He's a spirit. It's not possible for him to operate on his own will or his own power. If Hasatan operates on his own will and power, then that means that God is not omnipotent. If Hasatan operates on his own will and his own power, that means that our God is not omnipotent. It's not possible. Okay? Think about it. How can you be the only one with all power if someone has enough power to challenge you? Then you don't have all the power. Somebody else, that there's power that is relegated to somebody else too. That means that there is another God form out there that can rival you. Not possible. Well, these ideas are Greek thought and need to be separated from Hebrew thought. Okay? They're Greek in its understanding. Those are not Hebraic thoughts. Okay? How do we know Satan cannot operate without the permission and will of the Most High? How do we know this? Can the Torah answer this question for us? Absolutely, it can. Let's look at Job 1 carefully. We're going to take a careful walk through Job 1, okay? Now, we will now look we're going to look deeper into what is Hasatan's role, because Job 1 gives us a perfect understanding of what his role is, okay? Now, let's look at Job 1, 6 through 9. It says, one day the divine beings presented themselves before the Lord, and the adversary came along with them. The Lord said to the adversary, where have you been? The adversary answered the Lord, I have been roaming all over the earth. The Lord said to the adversary, have you noticed my servant Job? There is no one like him on earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and shuns evil. The adversary answered the Lord, does Job not have good reason to fear God? This is powerful. This is so key. Okay. Number one, let's look at the question structure. Let's look at how the questions are structured here, because this is important. It shows you who is in control and who has power. It shows you the omnipotent side of the Most High. Let's look. Did the Most High not know where Hasatan was? That question is like a oxymoron. Almost like satire. Where have you been? Come on. I know everything. I see all. I'm everywhere. I know exactly where Hasatan been. He knows. But he's asking them that question with the purpose. So why? And the reason why he's asking this question with a purpose is because Hasatan said to the Most High, I've been roaming all over the earth. And then the Most High replies with, well, why didn't you find Job? This is what he's trying to say to him. You've been going throughout the earth testing. Why did you not find Job? Have you noticed my servant Job? Think about it. He's asking Hasatan, why haven't you noticed Job? Okay. And Hasatan responds back to him with, does Job not have a good reason? Think of this. This is key. It is the Most High that is posing these questions. It is not Hasatan. It's the Most High. Okay. And then we look at it. And another question we want to ask ourselves is, why did the Most High alert Hasatan to Job? They're supposed to be at war with one another, correct? We got to be careful of that thinking. It's a form of thinking. That's a Greek mindset. The Greeks believe that God can do no wrong. He's all powerful, right? But there is somebody that can rival him. And since he do all good, there has to be somebody that does evil. It's likened unto Zeus and Hades. This is where their ideology come from their pantheon, which they took from Egypt. These are Greek ideologies. Not that it's anything wrong with that. It's just that it's not the Hebraic understanding of the text. That's the information we want to understand. We want the Hebraic understanding. Why? Because the Bible was written by Hebrews. You need to understand that. So we need to understand the culture and the context in which they're put in scriptures. Okay. Now, so we see that the Most High alerted Hasatan to Job. Look at Satan's response. Just look at his response to him. He said, have you not noticed my servant Job? There is no one like him on earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and shun evil. The adversary answered the Lord and said, does Job not have a good reason? So now what happens is Satan himself is putting Job on trial in front of the Most High. Why? Because he's an opponent. That's his job. Check this out. When the Most High asked Satan, where have you been? Satan, or Hasatan, is interchangeable. It means the same thing. Responded with doing my job in the earth. That's what he responded with. How do we know this? The Most High response to Satan was, well, have you looked at Job? If you're doing your job, why haven't you looked at Job? Now, why would the Most High ask Satan to look at Job if Hasatan's job wasn't testing? Why would he ask him that? There's a reason. Because those who the Most High love, he tests. We know this firmly from Deuteronomy 13. Prophet comes saying these things to you. It is the Lord your God that is testing you to see if your heart's in the right place. We know that he tests. Okay. So it's clearly the person that does the testing is Hasatan. That's his job, right? Now, we can clearly see here in the scriptures, if we read them carefully, that Hasatan is a full-on worker for the Most High. He's a worker. His job is to incite and to tempt. That's his job. Now, let's investigate more. Let's see if we can pull this out even more, okay? Check this out. Job 1:10 through 12. Let's go ahead and look at the rest of this. It says, why? Is it you who have fenced him around? Him and his household and all that he has? You have blessed his efforts so that his possessions spread out through the land. But lay your hand upon all that he has, and he will surely blaspheme you to your face. The Lord replied to the adversary, see, all that he has is in your power. Only do not lay a hand on him. The adversary departed from the presence of the Lord. Now, guys, what do we see here? This is key. The pause is very key. What do we see here? Okay. Who is doing the testing? Who initiated the testing? Okay. Who is doing the blessing? This is key. Who's doing the testing? Who's doing the blessing? Who is going to lay hands on Job? Let's read back through it again. Who is laying hands on Job? If we read this carefully, it is the Lord doing these things. It's the Most High. Hasatan said, you have put a fence around him. You have blessed him. You lay your hands on him and see if he don't blaspheme you. Hasatan is inciting the Most High to test Job. Hasatan's not doing that. He's a worker. It is the Most High that is doing it. We got to read it very carefully. Okay? Now, the one who was still speaking when another came and said, God's fire fell from heaven, took hold of the sheep and the boys and burned them up. And I alone have escaped to tell you. This is one of the scriptures further along. Okay? What does it say? It says God's fire fell from heaven. Hasatan doesn't have any control over fire falling from heaven. He does not. He has no control over that. So we see here that the Most High is carrying out these acts just like Hasatan asked him to. This is key. Very key. And we'll see why this is done once we get towards the end. We'll see that, right? So the Most High is carrying out these acts, okay? Now, Job chapter 2, the Most High is going to reveal something here that's very powerful. So Job 2, 1 through 7 says this. It says, one day the divine beings presented themselves before the Lord, and the adversary came along with them to present himself before the Lord. The Lord said to the adversary, where have you been? He's asking him these same line of questions again. Where have you been? The adversary answered, I have been roaming all over the earth. The Lord said to the adversary, look here, look here, look here, look here. The Lord said to the adversary, have you noticed my servant Job? There is no one like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fear God and shun evil. He still keeps his integrity. So you have incited me against him. Why? Because that is Hasatan's job. His job is to oppose, to incite. He's a prosecutor. You have incited me against him to destroy him for no good reason. The adversary answered the Lord and said, skin for skin. All that a man has, he will give up for his life. But lay a hand on his bones and his flesh, and he will surely blaspheme you to your face. Before Hasatan said, take all possessions. Most High did that. Now he's saying, now afflict his body with pain, and he'll curse you. So the Lord said to the adversary, see, he is in your power. Only spare his life. The adversary departed from the presence of the Most High and inflicted a severe inflammation on Job from the sole of his feet to the crown of his head. Okay. Now, we can see that Hasatan incited the Lord against Job. It's very clear. This is very powerful information staring us right in the face. Hasatan is an inciter. That's his role. His job is to bring accusations against humanity, especially Israel, for the righteousness of the Most High. He incites for the righteousness of the Most High, not against it. So we'll see this coming up too. This is why the Most High said Job was blameless and upright. He's saying, oh, Job is blameless and he's righteous. Hasatan said that Job is only righteous because you have blessed him. So the only reason why he's righteous is because you give to him. If you take everything you've given to him, he would not be righteous. He's going to blaspheme you. The Most High says, okay, let's see. So it was Satan who incited the Most High to a test of Job's blaspheming himself. Now, this goes a little bit deeper because Job was concerned about his kids blaspheming. So it's a whole nother layer of teaching that we can get from this. But we're focusing on Hasatan's role. There's a lot more that goes into this, but we're just focusing on his role. And what we see is Hasatan, according to the Hebrew concept, he is an opponent. a adversary, a tester, a inciter. That's his job. That's what he do, right? Now, note. This is a good note. This is a good note. The notion that the Most High is in an eternal battle with someone is Greek thought. That is totally a Greek concept of thinking, and comes about later in some Hebrew ideas when we get some of the European jewelry that comes on the scene. When you start to get some of the Ashkenazim and things of that nature coming onto the scene to be prominent with a couple of different ideas and things of that nature, that's when you get this idea of a battle between the two. But in early Greek thought, early Greek writing, the Most High was not battling somebody. Hasatan was an insider. That's what his role was, okay? Now, let's go ahead and look at Zechariah. Let's see if we can kind of see this pattern throughout the Old Testament where whenever Hasatan appears, he's appearing as a inciter or a prosecutor. Look here. Zechariah 3:1-2 says, he further showed me Joshua the high priest standing before the who? Angel of the Lord, and the accuser standing at his right hand to accuse him. We just said that Hasatan is an accuser. He's a prosecutor. He brings forth the righteousness of Yah and brings our filthiness before Yah. Like, listen, you're blessing these people, but these people are not doing what they're supposed to do. He's a tattleteller. That's his job, right? Now, but the angel of the Lord said to the accuser, the Lord rebuke you, O accuser. May the Lord who has chosen Jerusalem rebuke you. For this is a brand plucked from the fire. See, Satan was at this point was saying that you done chose these people done turned their back on you. I don't even know why you've done this. But the angel of the Lord was saying, not so. You need to stand down because these people are still the chosen people of the Most High. They in the funk, but you need to stand down, okay? Now, the accuser presents the sins of mankind to the Most High as a court prosecutor would present evidence against a person who is guilty of a crime or fault against the law. It's the same concept, okay? We can clearly see this in the tempting of Yeshua. This is very key. The same pattern presents itself in the testing of Yeshua in Matthew. Same exact pattern. If we look at the text from this Hebraic point of view, we can see the same thing happening to Yeshua. Now let's look here. Matthew 4 states this. Then Yeshua, Jesus, was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. So a more accurate reading would render, then Yeshua was led by the Ruach into the wilderness to be tested by the accuser. Why? Because it is Hasatan's job to test people. It is Hasatan's job to accuse them against the Most High. Yeshua happened to pass this test against the accuser, right? But what we want to think about and focus in on here is, number one, who is leading Yeshua to be tested? Think of this, this is key. Think of it. Who is leading Yeshua to be tested? It is the Spirit of God. Who did the Most High choose as a tester? Hasatan. Same thing in Job. Same thing in Zechariah. It is the Most High who makes these choices. Okay? By the Hebraic concept of Hasatan, we can clearly see it is the Most High who is leading Yeshua. It is the Most High who is setting up the testing. And it is the Most High who places Hasatan in the wilderness to test Yeshua. I am reminded of the scripture in Deuteronomy 32:9. And this is why the Hebraic thought is so powerful and important. See then that I am He. There is no God beside me. I deal death and give life. I wound and I heal. None can deliver from my hand. The Most High is showing his omnipotent power here. Nobody has the right nor the authority to take away from or give to me or do anything outside of what I decide that needs to be done. It is the Most High that does these things. Okay? Now, we can get into a conversation about why, but that's for another video. Right now, what we now have in front of us is a clear understanding of who Hasatan was and his role he played in humanity. We've answered those two questions. Okay. Once again, I would like to thank you guys for watching the video. Like, subscribe, tell your friends about it, just to give you some Hebraic understanding, Hebraic perspective of Hasatan, breaking things down so that we can be able to get a closer relationship with the Most High, understand how things work, and be better educated believers. Okay. I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, this is Jason. Peace and blessings.